Once a month, a single number gets released to the public like a national report card. A microphone goes up, a politician steps forward, and they announce that foreign rivals are winning. They point to the trade deficit as proof that the country is being cheated. This scale shows the basic definition. A trade deficit means a country bought more goods and services from the rest of the world than it sold to them over a specific period. Imports outweighed exports. This sounds like a household spending more than its monthly paycheck. If you do that personally, you eventually run out of money. That familiar feeling of a shrinking bank account is exactly why this number causes panic. A national economy operates on a different set of mechanics. While a household's overspending is a simple shortfall, a country's ledger involves a complex loop of global currency that changes what that shortfall actually represents. Economists look at the trade deficit as an accounting mirror. It reflects a domestic reality involving savings, investment, and the movement of international capital. This suggests the number we see in the headlines might be tracking something unexpected, the scale of foreign capital flowing into the country to find a home in the domestic economy. To understand that flow, follow the money. When you buy foreign cars, electronics, or oil, you send domestic dollars out into the global market. Those dollars don't disappear. They end up in foreign hands, and those holders have to use them. If they don't use those dollars to buy your exports, they buy your assets instead. The money comes flooding back across the border to buy government bonds, real estate, and shares in your companies. This is an unbreakable accounting identity. A trade deficit in goods can only exist if it is matched by an equally sized investment surplus. These are two sides of the same coin. The goods move in one direction, and the capital moves in the other to pay for them. When the news reports a record trade deficit, they are describing a record amount of foreign capital choosing to bet on your economy over any other alternative. This capital inflow is driven by a gap inside a country's own borders. On one side is what the nation saves. On the other is how much it wants to invest in things like data centers and housing. When a government runs a large budget deficit, it joins that line, competing for capital. This creates a larger gap that domestic savings can't fill on their own. To make up the difference, the country borrows from the rest of the world. That act of borrowing foreign savings is what shows up on the other ledger as a trade deficit. In many cases, the trade deficit is the shadow cast onto the global market by a government spending significantly more than it collects in taxes. Some nations possess a unique advantage in this system. For a reserve currency like the US dollar, there is a permanent global demand to hold its assets for safety. Savers in unstable economies often hoard physical $100 bills to protect their wealth. This massive stock of offshore cash essentially functions as an interest-free loan to the issuing country, earning it billions of dollars every year. This global hunger for the currency is why tariffs rarely shrink the deficit. A tariff taxes physical goods, but it doesn't change the world's desire to hold the currency or its assets. When you tax imports, the exchange rate shifts. The dollar strengthens, which makes your exports more expensive and all other imports cheaper. This adjustment often cancels out the effect of the tariff entirely. Capital flows respond to deep economic currents. Trying to stop them with import taxes is like trying to hold back a river with a net. Since a deficit represents an inflow of capital, the real question is how that capital is being used. If a country borrows massive amounts of foreign capital and spends it on immediate consumption, it leaves itself with debt and nothing to show for it. In this scenario, the deficit is a warning sign. But if a country invests that capital in new technology and infrastructure, it builds a future that earns more than the loan's cost. In this case, the deficit reflects a country so full of opportunity that the world wants a stake in it. By that same logic, a trade surplus can indicate that a country lacks exciting opportunities to invest its own money at home, so it sends those savings abroad. Surpluses and deficits describe the direction savings are moving, flowing from places with fewer local prospects to places where the entire world believes the returns are higher. Economic health is best measured by looking in the mirror. The focus shouldn't be on the number itself, but on whether a nation is using the world's borrowed money to build its future or simply to pay for today.